He's a player that needs a lot of respect and credit at the moment.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his name.
Scott McTominay.
We're previewing all 10 of the weekend's Premier League fixtures, and as we're joined by Liverpool fan Chris Pajak, we're going to focus on the fascinating clash at Anfield, Liverpool v Leicester City. Now, this video is sponsored by The Athletic, the place for the best coverage of your club, with a world-class team of writers including David Ornstein, James Pearce and Dominic Fifield. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription. So that works out at just £2.50 per month. Now, a win against Leicester would mean that Liverpool equal their best ever start to a league season with 8 wins from 8. Now, Chris, including last season, Liverpool are currently on a run of 16 straight Premier League wins. That run has to come to an end at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The end of this video.
Probably. I mean, football's going to continue for quite some time, and I would hazard a guess that Liverpool are going to lose a game.
You never know, though, do you?
I mean, it's not looking likely at the minute.
Football never ends. Liverpool are just going to go unbeaten for the rest of eternity.
It's possible.
Is that what we're saying?
Maybe.
Well,
I'm all on board for that. I'll take that.
But can you see it happening any time in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, of course. I think, the record stands at 19 Premier League wins on the bounce, 2017 Manchester City. Now, we know how good that side was, and it ended. The fact of the matter is, Liverpool in our entire history have never done this. We're in uncharted territory. That great Manchester City side only did 19. It's going to happen at some point soon. Now, I think the one thing that makes me really happy with this Liverpool side is there's no set way to beat us. Teams come at us in different ways, and we don't dominate you with our type of football all the time, but we're able to very much react to what's happening on the pitch, and that's the best thing about this Liverpool side. If you want to play counter-attack football, we can play that with you. You want to be physical, we can do that. You want to play long ball, we can do that. And that's the best thing about this Liverpool side. So it's very difficult to beat us. And at Anfield, it's been a long time since we've been beaten, going back to, I think, 2017 in the league, something like that.
That is no mean feat, isn't it? Do you think, you've said, the winning streak's got to come to an end at some point. Is it going to be sort of one of the powerhouses of the Premier League, or do you think it could be a surprise team that beats you?
I don't know. I mean, historically, Liverpool have struggled against teams lower down the league. I think last season we won every game against every team from 7 down. I don't think we dropped a point against hardly any of them, if any at all, actually. Drew against Manchester United and Everton away from home, and obviously got beaten by Manchester City. But all those teams lower down the league, we seem to have found a way to win against. That being said, Norwich were really good at Anfield this season. They gave us some trouble. Sheffield United were brilliant against us last weekend. It's football, innit? Anything can happen on any given day, I suppose.
So, Statman Dave, have you been impressed with how Liverpool have picked up from where they left off last season?
Yeah, I think they've been doing the things that they did last season really well. I think defensively, there's been criticism. People are saying, you can target Trent, you can target Matip. Van Dijk isn't the same player. We've dribbled past him this season. But the data suggests that otherwise, in a way, where you're looking at the shots that Liverpool face on target, the best in the Premier League. Only West Ham, Palace and Man City have had more clean sheets. And I think they'll come. On top of that, they're still doing what, sort of opened teams up last season, scoring goals from set pieces. Liverpool, in a way, are a little bit like Sam Allardyce with the checkbook. You're looking at, they defend well, they score from set pieces. 24 since the start of last season, 5 more than any other Premier League side. And that allows them to break. Once they get their first goal, as you know, Chris, they can counter-attack, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's more than just Sam Allardyce with a checkbook, isn't it? Let's be honest, because we didn't just score 24 goals last season, all from set pieces. Sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
There's about 6 on the counter-attack as well that you could put into like JJ Kochers, Bolton, you're looking
at that.
No,
probably not. Look, Liverpool can do everything. That's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the video is, we can counter-attack, we can play possession football, we can build up down the wings, we can go through the middle. That's the best thing about this Liverpool side. And, we are playing with a slightly higher line. I think, I look at the average positions of the players every single week, and I have done for nearly 3 years now, and it's on average about 10 metres higher, and that translates. People are getting more chances against us. 23 chances created against us, but only 2 goals from those big chances created this season. Now, what's that down to? I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest, but the goalkeeper's having a good spell at the moment, Adjan, who's come in for Allison. But what the high line is doing is it means that teams are finding it harder to get out. Fabinho's taking a higher position, and the ball's getting recycled and cleared away by the other team, Fabinho, and then we're starting again. Like the old Manchester United sides, when they used to attack in waves, wave after wave, wave, and you'd sit there, and I'd hate it, and I'd be sitting there going, he's going to score any minute now, the team can't get out, and that's what Liverpool are doing to the opposition. And I think the other thing is we're scoring most of our goals in the back 15 minutes of the first half. Like, we play ourselves into the game, we have a look at what the other team's doing, we recognise what we're doing and what they're doing, and then we try and build and score a goal towards the end of the half, and it's happened time and time again.
What's quite interesting there is that Dortmund under Klopp were very much first 15 minutes, they blow you away, they press, they fly out the blocks, and then they get a goal and then they'd sit back. There's been many Champions League games where that's happened. They've scored 4 goals in the first 20 minutes and then they sit back. Similar to a little bit like Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool in a way, where they blow teams away. So it is interesting to see Klopp develop this, and like you're saying, the goals come a little bit later. They wait, they're more calm, and then if it doesn't come, it's either been a set piece or it's been maybe a fortuitous goal. But as you mentioned, that the United team of yesteryear, they'd attack so much that something would happen. They'd hit a shot, it'd go in, but it's because of the sort of that having that ability to play on the front foot over and over again for minute after minute that allows them to get that look, I think.
Yeah, you'd stress players out, don't you? I think that's it. And you tire them out as well. This Liverpool side, when Klopp came into the league, it was, they won't last the season. They can't last the full 90 minutes. Now, Liverpool recognise that the game is 90 minutes plus long, and we play the same way the entire way through that 90 plus minutes, and we're getting late goals. We saw it back in the last season. Origi scores late against Everton. We get the late goal against Tottenham. That's what we were doing to teams time and time again, because we got the fitness and the understanding that if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to drag those lads around left and right all game. They'll eventually get tired, and then it's those marginal gains that Dave talks about. It's getting a throw-in coach and winning more possession off throw-ins than you're losing for once in the last 5 years. That's what Thomas Gronemark did when he brought, Klopp brought him in. How we're doing from set pieces, how we defend set pieces. We might not have quite the money that Manchester City got and not the squad, but we're looking to utilise every facet of the game to gain an advantage on our opposition.
Right, Dave, you touched on the Champions League there. Just so you guys know, we are recording this before Liverpool's Champions League game. So if anything big happens and we're not talking about it, that's why, right? So we've got Liverpool's lineup from their last Premier League game versus Sheffield United on screen. The latest injury news as we're recording this is that Allison could be ready to return, and James Maddison is expected to be available after missing the midweek game. Now, Chris, how do you think your side could set up for this one?
I think it'll be as we normally sort of play, to be honest with you. I think you can see the side there is probably give or take about right. I'm not sure whether he risks Matip. I think Joe Gomez, I'm not sure. It's obviously difficult recording this before the Champions League game. I'm sure Joe Gomez had a really good game and needed those minutes under his belt. But is it too much for Gomez to play a couple of games in a week? Probably not. It's not an injury that he's been sat out for recently. Matip, for me, is the starter at the moment, and I would personally keep him in. But then, Joe Gomez is a great player as well, who will be fighting hard for that shirt again.
I think the interesting side with Liverpool, of course, is the fullbacks. We mentioned that before. Trent this season, it feels like he's jumped onto another level. Only Kevin De Bruyne has created more chances per game this season. Do you feel that his ability to go forward gives Mohamed Salah a little bit more license and a bit more freedom? Because now you're thinking, now I've got to deal with Trent as well as Mohamed Salah.
It's a difficult one to explain, really. I think, when you look at how Liverpool play, Salah doesn't play over on that right-hand side as much. He plays in the sort of half space, doesn't he? And he's always our furthest player forwards. And then Firmino obviously dropped back 5 metres or so. Mane inverted half space on the right-hand side. So it does give space for Trent, but teams are so scared of Mohamed Salah that they're always doubling up. And that's why you're seeing the likes of Sadio Mane getting more goals this season, why you're seeing Trent getting space, because teams are focused on Salah, and rightfully so. He's a great player, and he can deal with two players looking to try and double up on him and stuff. But Trent's delivery is second to none at the moment. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable, and he utilises that space that's been created for him so well on the right-hand side.
Well, you touched on Sadio Mane getting the goals there, and Rafa Honigstein recently wrote an article in The Athletic where he was looking at Sadio Mane's past, and he recalled a friend from his RB Salzburg days saying that he had a desire to get the Ballon d'Or then. Does that show that his ambition was there and still is?
Absolutely. I think, when he came to Liverpool, he was our top scorer that season, and he was the main man at Liverpool. Yeah. And then we signed Mo Salah, and all of a sudden he wasn't the main man again. And I think that's why you saw a step up in his game. You know, he obviously finishes the season with Aubameyang and with Salah as the top scorer last season. And he's kicked on again. His finishing, apart from Sheffield United, has been outstanding this season. He seems to be able to pass the ball into the back of the net more now. He's not rushing his chances. But you can see, and you know, Rafa's piece was brilliant actually, and I did read it. You can see that he wants to be the best player in the world. Yeah. And I think he thinks that he can achieve that at Liverpool now, which is obviously something that it's probably been a while since a player's been able to say that.
We had a great debate about Liverpool's squad depth in a video you can watch via the description below. So if we look at another important question for their side, Statman Dave, who do you think's been Liverpool's key player so far this season?
It's a really difficult one. I think there's players that come out, you're thinking Firmino, what a season he's had so far with 7 games in, he's dominating again. I think Trent's got to be, you got to have a shout out there. But I think it will come back to being Mane or Salah. There's an interesting thing going around where Mohamed Salah and Mane aren't passing the football to each other. And in fact, they're not. It's only 2.4 times per game. So if you compare the 7 Premier League games this season, they've passed the ball 17 times between them. Their last season, it was 41 times in the last 7 games. So there is this slight thing where it feels like the front 3, maybe not linking, maybe not narrow enough, maybe. I don't think it's the case that they don't like each other and, but you're attacking down one wing versus the other. But maybe the link of Firmino's better now, Chris. What would you put that down to?
I don't know. I think it's probably the way that teams are setting up against us, to be honest with you. I think teams know now, they're so worried about Liverpool's front 3. We're definitely not getting the space to counter-attack, and I'm sure some of those passes would have come from counter-attacks. We don't get to do that anymore against sides. They do sit back. It's generally 2 banks of 4 and play a little bit of a low block, and then you might have an attacking midfielder who's running around as well, or a defensive midfielder. So it's difficult for Liverpool to find space for the two of them to pass to each other. Can I disagree with you on your key player, Dave?
Okay.
I really like Firmino this season. I think he has enabled us to play to a different level. I think what we saw last season out of Firmino was the first few months of the season, him growing into his role. And when he hit his stride, that's when Liverpool started to garner 3 points almost every single game. And it's him that enables everything else to go on around him. It enables Trent and Robertson to play high. Enables Salah and Mane, Salah certainly not to track back. So for me, he's the key, he's the difference maker between this season and maybe the season before. But if you pick him from the front 2, front 3, I think you're right. Mane and Salah are always going to be up there or thereabouts.
I think the interesting side with that is that it's like kind of Fabinho, when you could take him out and maybe another one of those players could play that role. But if you were to remove someone like Roberto Firmino or Trent or maybe Robertson, there's no one that could come in and fulfill their roles as well. And I think that's the side of it, that Liverpool now have such a good team that it's almost like that's a key cog, that's a key cog, and that's a key cog. Basically, the whole team is key cogs. But I think with Fabinho, you could play Henderson there. He's not going to do the same job. Lallana could play there. We've seen him do that a bit. Not as destructive as Fabinho, but maybe more on the ball. So it's kind of like, which player would you take out would cause Liverpool the most problem? I think when Firmino doesn't play, Liverpool lack that. Sorry, Firmino doesn't play. You lack that link in that attacking midfield area.
I think you're right. If you're saying which player is the most important in that regard, then personally, Firmino's the glue that holds it all together. I don't think there's a better striker for Liverpool in world football than Roberto Firmino. There are better finishers. There are strikers that suit their systems well. But for Liverpool right now, I don't look around world football and think, I wish we had him instead of Roberto Firmino.
Apart from Robert Lewandowski.
31, Roberto Firmino's, I think he's 28 today.
Direct swap would be good. I think that's the only player I could see that could do that role that might be better than him. Only because of the goals. I think he does everything as well. Maybe Firmino works a little bit harder.
Yeah, but we were talking off camera today, weren't we, before the show about how poor Lewandowski was last season.
That's what I mean. So it's form, isn't it? Which is an interesting side with strikers. If you're in form, you're scoring goals. Yeah,
that's it. And Roberto Firmino is in form, and he facilitates the other two to get so many goals. And that's really what it's about at the moment for us. It's about making sure that you feed Mane and Salah, isn't it?
Yep.
Right, well, thank you for that, Chris and Statman Dave. Who do you think has been Liverpool's key player so far this season? Get in the comments and tell us. So if we put Leicester's 11 in from their 5-0 win over Newcastle, the latest injury news is that James Maddison is expected to be ready after missing out last week. Sorry about that. Where do you think the key battles are going to be at Anfield?
I think there could be a few. I think Leicester City's attack, their defence and midfield has been absolutely fantastic under Brendan Rodgers. I think as Oliver Kay asked, is it safe to praise Rodgers? Yeah, as a Liverpool fan, on the Athletic.
I must admit, I went into this season thinking that Leicester would probably be a little bit hit and miss. I respect what Rodgers did at Liverpool. I think he's shown that tactically he can manage a squad and that he can change things up when it's not working right. I didn't really expect him to get a tune out of Vardy, and that certainly seems to be what he's been able to do. He's the guy who always plays well against Liverpool, isn't he? Jamie Vardy scored wonder goals against us over the last few years and stuff. But Rodgers is a good manager, and I would say that he's probably better than Manchester United's manager. He's better than Chelsea's manager, and there's a lot of teams in the league that he's a better manager than.
It is interesting. I think at Celtic he did, move his game on as well. He had, evolved in that point. In terms of the actual game, I think, as you mentioned there, keeping Jamie Vardy quiet on the counter-attack or in possession is going to be quite crucial. The big thing that we've sort of spoke about previously with Liverpool is that sort of that channel. Playing behind Trent. If you can get in behind Trent, Joel Matip 1v1, is that an area where you feel that Jamie Vardy can get the better out of Joel Matip?
Yeah, potentially. I think what's been interesting is when teams have attacked down that right-hand side, I think they have been targeting Joel Matip rather than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and they're taking advantage of the fact that Trent joins the attack. But when teams have had success against us, and Sheffield United did this last week, they've played two up top. And that's the key, and it's whether Leicester can do that against us, because that other striker is occupying Van Dijk, and he's making the run to the back stick, which then isolates Joel Matip. If Vardy is the furthest player forwards, and he's not helped, and there's not a man running away from Van Dijk can go over there and help out. You don't isolate Matip unless you can take Van Dijk out of the play.
I think that's quite interesting because we've seen Rodgers play 4-3-3 as he did in the 5-0 win against Newcastle, but we've also seen him play a diamond, and that's quite comfortably what he could do. We've seen Chowdhury come in these bigger games, a physical midfielder, and if James Maddison is fit, which he should be, we could see Perez actually playing on top of Virgil van Dijk, Maddison dropping into a number 10 position, and arguably matching Liverpool's sort of shape man for man in a way, and that could allow some problems on the counter, as you mentioned. Now Virgil van Dijk has a direct opponent, a player that's quick, that's nimble, that could cause him a bit of problems with his pace, and that causes Liverpool a little bit of issue that maybe Fabinho will have to drop back and join that area, which leaves James Maddison. There's questions if the diamonds comes out from Brendan Rodgers.
Absolutely, and I think from an offensive point of view, that wouldn't be a bad way to go for Leicester City, if I'm honest. But what does that do to Leicester's shape in the defensive sense? Now what you've done is you've opened up the space for Trent and for Robertson, our two ball hawks, the lads who we rely on to get the ball to our forward players. So we saw Arsenal go against us with a diamond in midfield, and they got absolutely slaughtered because of it. If it wasn't for us overhitting passes and trying to cross the ball high into the box first half, we'd have been well up. But second half, we came out, we started to play the ball into feet from Trent, and we really took advantage of that diamond midfield. But this is the thing with Liverpool. What works going forward may not work in a defensive sense now, and that's why we're a good side, because we always constantly asking questions of you. In an offensive sense, it suits. In a defensive sense, I'm not sure it does.
I think it puts that down to the fact that Fabinho is going to be vitally important on the break. I think one of the issues with Arsenal is they kind of went with a flat 3. So they had 3 players covering where traditionally you'd have 4 players to cover a pitch. Trent, Robinson got space, game over. If there's more of a tight diamond that does rotate left, rotate right, and sticks together, you can defend one flank and then defend the other. Pereira, Chilwell have to be a bit ballsy with their pressing, and the likes of, we know Vardy will work back. I think that could be something that Leicester City do. Perez will work back, and if they can contain the fullbacks while everyone else, you've got a chance. But then that's kind of the issue that, look, there's 5 or 6 different things you've got to deal with, and now we've not even spoke about Liverpool's front 3, and it's then you've got that to deal with as well. So I think it's like, which battles can you win, which battles can you concede, and what space can you concede, what space do you need to attack?
And how brave you're going to be in possession of the ball, I think, is key, isn't it? I think we saw against Norwich, didn't we, when they played Manchester City, that you have to be brave in possession. When you're going against these top sides now in the Premier League, you have to trust what you're going to do. You need to be able to play through the press, and that's what Leicester have got to do against Liverpool and Anfield. They need to trust that what they're doing in possession of the ball is right. And Brendan Rodgers' sides do that. That's the one thing about them that there's an identity. It's a passing football identity, and Rodgers will get them to play well against us and really trust their instincts and trust their first touch. But will it work? I don't know. We, as I said before, we've not lost at Anfield in the league for a long time, and there's a reason. It's because we're a good side and we're very hard to beat.
Right, then let's take a look at the rest of the weekend's fixtures. So the early kick-off on Saturday, Brighton take on Spurs. Spurs probably not looking forward to that, actually.
No, I wouldn't say so. After the demolition of Bayern Munich 7-2, that was a bit of a hammering. So you'd expect Spurs either to react well or react poorly to this. Brighton do like to play football under Graham Potter. Spurs, Ndombele is going to be the crucial guy for me. I thought it was good against Bayern Munich, got taken off and then Spurs fell apart. He's a guy that can carry the ball, that can join the attack, and if he can link with Heung-min Son, simple win for Spurs, but it's all about mentality here. Has Poch got it to get them back on track?
Has he got it? Right then, Chris, we've got Burnley v Everton as well on Saturday.
Oh yeah, two Northwestern football powerhouses going head to head there. I think Burnley are probably going to win this game, to be honest. Everton are in a little bit of turmoil at the moment. I think they've lost their identity. It's a great place to go to, Goodison Park. And we saw them play really well against Manchester City last week, but they still ultimately didn't get anything out of the game, and they're having a little bit of a struggle, whereas Burnley know who Burnley are, and I think I give the advantage to them.
Yeah. We've also got, of course, Liverpool v Leicester and the two promoted sides, Norwich, Aston Villa.
This is a big one. This could be an exciting game, this. I think Norwich have shown that they like to play football. Villa have got a style of sitting deep, breaking out wide. I think in terms of this one, Norwich will win it. But Aston Villa's midfielders look really good. Jack Grealish, we mentioned last week. John McGinn, one of the only Premier League players to hit double figures in chances created, dribbles, shots, and of course the main one, tackles won. So he's a guy that could cause some problems with Norwich, Timo Pukki. At home, they're a lot better. They play with a little bit more style, a little bit more swagger. So I'd expect Pukki, Cantwell and Bundia to really open up this Aston Villa team.
Well, Watford take on Sheffield United. Probably not going to be looking forward to that one.
No, probably not. I think Watford have struggled really, haven't they? Yeah. But I tell you what, I don't watch every game of football anymore. It's been a long time since I've had the time to do that because of my dad. But Sheffield United are a good side. I got to see them with my own two eyes, and they're really well coached, and they're doing some stuff that I think before the game, I probably had an idea of Sheffield United and how they play. I was totally wrong. They really surprised me, and they're a very good footballing side and very well drilled. I don't give Watford much chance in this one because of that. Wilder's a good manager, and they're doing some really good stuff.
Absolutely. And the 5:30 kickoff as well, West Ham v Palace.
This could be the 0-0 of the weekend. 3 clean sheets. They're pretty decent at the back for both sides. Palace have shown that they can sit, soak up pressure, and West Ham, Yarmolenko's hit a bit of form, two goals in the last 2 games, but they still lack that little bit of ball playing at the back. Mark Noble, Declan Rice, they are good central midfielders, but they struggle to really link the play. Without Lanzini, just come back off an injury as well. If he starts, maybe you could see goals in the game, but if not, it's a 0-0 for me.
Well, we're at West Ham to record Would You Rather this week, so keep your eye out for that on Squawka. We'll have a look at the Sunday 2:00 kickoff. Bournemouth head to the Emirates.
I think Arsenal win this one just purely based off firepower. I think Aubameyang is one of the best strikers in the league. You don't need me to sit here and tell you that. But Bournemouth, they've been consistent under Eddie Howe, haven't they? Arsenal.
And Dave, another 2:00 kickoff, Wolves Man City.
Pep Guardiola's really doing me head in, honestly. The rotation that he's costing me fantasy football points week after week.
Just give it
it's
on.
Getting too much.
Pep, can you not, please?
Yeah, like Aguero in, Sterling in, what's he doing? I think the interesting side here is fullbacks for Man City. Will they go with Mendy and Cancelo like they did midweek, or they rotate again? Zinchenko will come back and Kyle Walker will come back. Those 2 players that I mentioned at the end there, they're in the top 10 players in terms of passes in the final third with Liverpool's fullbacks, showing the importance of fullbacks in the modern day. Massive. There's going to be a City win because they play fullbacks and wingers. It's going to open up Wolves' 3-man defence.
Right then, the other 2:00 kickoff, Southampton v Chelsea, Chris.
Yeah, I must admit, I think Chelsea are in for a top 4 finish this season. And it's probably based off the fact that they've got N'Golo Kante. I think Chelsea with N'Golo Kante are a completely different proposition to Chelsea without N'Golo Kante. He is just an absolute destroyer. If he's fit, you can have a 5-man midfield and he can beat you 1v5. And listen, Mason Mount's playing well. Obviously, we know all about that. And Tammy Abraham, I think they'll just have a little too much for Southampton.
Right, Kante the destroyer then. The one you're going to be watching, Dave, 4:30 kickoff, Newcastle Man United at St James's Park.
It's going to be a bit of an interesting game. I think Newcastle will defend deep as they have done all season. But Man United have got Scott McTominay. He's a player that needs a lot of respect and credit at the moment.
Put some respect on his name. It's Scott McTominay.
No, I think he dominated the midfield versus Arsenal. I thought he took his goal really well. But it was more him carrying the ball. He's a player that seems to be played with players around him that should be better than him, but he's performed this season. Man United's key guy. So I expect United to maybe be a little bit slow. If they can get Dan James the ball as much as they can, there's an avenue for a bit of excitement, but this could be a stinker of a game.
Yeah, mate. Newcastle, Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce has played Manchester United 22 times as manager and never won a game against them. I would absolutely be putting your money on Manchester United.
There you go, bit of positivity for you, Statman Dave. Right, now before you go, Chris, one last thing, the fabled Squawka Challenge. So here's the current leaderboards. We can see Sam Lee and Jamie Jackson with 24 at the top, Adam McCullough with 11. Your pal, Paul Machin's got 8.
What did he get 8 for?
So, well, we're going to tell you in a minute, right? You're going to be looking to beat that. Are you okay?
Absolutely.
Are you feeling confident?
No.
Because you've got no idea what I'm going to ask you.
Exactly.
Right, so what you've got to do, Chris, is name as many Brazilian football clubs as you can in 60 seconds, starting now.
Are there even 24? Right.
Yeah.
Fluminense, Corinthians, Internacional, Grêmio, Atletico Mineiro, Atletico PR, Santos, Sao Paulo, Vasco da Gama, is that Brazilian? Yeah, I'm out.
All done?
Yeah.
You've beaten your pal Paul Machin. You've only got 9. Well done. Sorry, Paul, if you're watching this. Now, thanks again to The Athletic for sponsoring this video. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription. So it works out at just £2.50 per month. If you do that, you'll hear more from their world-class team of writers like David Ornstein and James Pearce. Now, thank you so much for coming along, Chris. It's been lovely having you. Tell the people at home where they can find more of you online.
RedmenTV.com. If you want to go to the website, we do a subscription website, but we put loads of videos out on YouTube. That's the Redmen TV.
Thank you, Chris. And remember, keep your feedback going in the comments. We're going to invite guests from other clubs along each week. So pop your suggestions in the comments for people you'd like to see on here. Subscribe if you're new for more videos like this. Enjoy the weekend's football, and we'll see you next time on Squawka.